Welcome back. Now, artisans in Mali are hoping that Bogolan, traditional cotton fabric, will continue to fascinate Western fashion designers and provide jobs at home. VOA's Tefera Germa Tefera and Bagashi Kaura visited a small neighborhood in central Bamako where artisans are hard at work. Salam Solomon narrates.
Outside a workshop in a popular Bamako neighborhood, Toumani Sadio and his employees are hard at work. They're making Bogolan, one of Mali's best-known fabrics.
These are brand names like Louis Vuitton, Michael Kors, Gucci. We make all that in Bogolan. You get the color you want. This was a white basin or polished cotton, and all these Bogolan were white.
The Bogolan, which means made of mud, is a handmade cotton clothing that is dyed in special tree leaves and painted with fermented mud. 35-year-old Saju left his office job a few years ago to embrace the craft full-time.
I brought a lot of innovation to the Bogolan. I created this business to give jobs to unemployed young men. I train them.
Malians have experienced a difficult decade, fighting Islamic extremists and dealing with ethnic conflicts. Artisans like Sadio are trying to provide opportunities for locals as tourism dwindled and businesses faced challenging times.
In the past, foreigners were coming and buying a lot of Bogolan, not anymore.
Sadio and his men hope that local demand for their work will rise as they wait for tourists to return. For Tefera Germa and Bagasi Kura, Salam Salomon, VOA News.
Years of civil war in South Sudan has left basic infrastructure such as schools, hospitals, roads destroyed. In Malakal, one of the most volatile regions of the country, 400 troops from the United Kingdom are building desperately needed infrastructure to support the work of the United Nations mission in improving living conditions there. Take a look.
The UK contingent, consisting of engineers, medics, logistics and other support staff, are building roads, accommodation units, helicopter landing systems and other vital infrastructure in Malakal. They're also designing and building a new hospital in nearby Bentiu so that their 80 medics can provide care for UN personnel across the region. Leading the contingent is Lieutenant Colonel Katie Hislop, the first female commander to serve with the United Nations mission in South Sudan.
Coming from the UK, there are quite a few female commanding officers, so it wasn't something that I thought about as being different really until I arrived. What I've also noticed is that there are actually very few female peacekeepers over here, and I know that it's really important that we have a huge diversity across all of our peacekeepers to fully understand the situation and to be able to add sort of what we can in terms of value.
While their primary focus is on enabling the mission to carry out its mandate, the UK troops are also working on projects that directly benefit local communities, including repairing a culvert in Malakal so people can travel safely in the town and training health workers in Bentiu to improve their skills.
With those skills, what we're hoping is that this increases the confidence of the local population in the Bentiu State Hospital so that people feel more confident in moving from the POC site, potentially back to Rabkona or Bentiu and the communities there.
The experience is a life-changing one for the troops who've traveled so far to work with the people of South Sudan, to protect civilians and build durable peace. They say their reward will be leaving a legacy of having made a real difference to people's lives.
If I could genuinely leave any gift whatsoever, then I think I would want to leave self-belief that the situation could get better. But if you're asking me to leave something that I could actually leave, something physical and tangible from the engineers that we have here, then it would just be a slight improvement to the infrastructure, making their roads more trafficable, making them safer and making people more secure and certainly feel more secure in the POC camps, because it is quite frankly a beautiful country which should have a bright future. and whatever we can do, whether it be small, just a small step, then we would take real privilege from doing that.
That privilege, they say, is serving the people of South Sudan by carrying out the United Nations mandate of improving the quality of people's lives and making their country proud.
Now, Malawi may not be what comes to mind when you think of kung fu movies, but four young acrobats in its capital, Lilongwe, are out to change that. Their first film, The Town Monga, has been generating buzz online and drawing interest from regional cable distributors. Now, Lamek Messina has a story from Lilongwe.
The buzz started soon after the director posted the film's trailer online.
It's not what we expected, and we have been overwhelmed by the response. And we have taken, I think, some time now just to sit down and trying to re-strategize, like, okay, where do we go from now?
Ufewa Acrobatics is a group of 4 school dropouts from the Area 36 township in the Malawi capital. The acrobats are self-taught. They learned by watching Jack Chan movies and videos of Cirque du Soleil.
At first, we were performing around our neighborhood. After the positive response, we started performing in townships, performing in the streets. In the process, people would give us money for each performance.
Making their own movie seemed a natural progression. In 2015, they embarked on The Town Monga. The film tells the story of the challenges they have faced.
We have sometimes been accused by many people, even by our own relatives, that what we are doing has no future. But I could not back down because I had a vision. And moreover, there are skills which God blessed me with.
The 82-minute movie was filmed using a board camera and a board iPad. The set was the streets they know well. The action movie got mixed reviews at its first local screening to journalists.
What has impressed me the most is the setting, as in at the beginning when the movie was being set, it wasn't just linear.
It never had a lot of dialogue that they can really grow on. It never had a lot of female actors. We only saw one female actor that we can also definitely grow on.
Meanwhile, several regional TV networks have expressed interest in buying rights to the film. It is entirely in the local language, Chichewa. Producers are busy adding English subtitles. The 4 young men are preparing to stage live action performances of The Town Monga, and they hope to one day perform abroad. Lamek Messina for VOA News, Lilongwe, Malawi.
Well, that's our show for today. Now, you can find all the continent's top news and world news online at voaafrica.com. I'm Vince McCoy in Washington. Chamberlain also has our last word from Lagos.
We look forward to bringing you another show next week. ChannelsTV.com is your source for news, sports, and other programming. I'm Chamberlain Uso. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.